This is Dr. Ben Morrill. Welcome to episode 25 of Reptile Genetics Weekly, where we use DNA to learn more about the animals that we're all obsessed with and love. And as always, start off with updates. So this last week, we had hundreds of results go out to people. And so hopefully some of you that had to wait because of the problem we had on a run, a couple runs back, most of you should get all of that, all those results by now. So hopefully lots of excited people. And then this next week, so I'm going to be analyzing the next couple of days. So probably results will be going out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we'll have hundreds more coming out. Thank you so much. We're excited to see y'all are hatching out some really cool babies, and it's cool to see so much interest in the testing, and we'll keep it going. We will keep rocking it, and maybe even hire Kayla for more hours to help because we're staying plenty busy. How are you doing, Kayla?
I'm doing well. How about you, Ben?
Doing all right.
Good stuff.
Staying busy and out of trouble.
Yeah. So I heard you had a pretty cool test come in recently, right?
Yeah. So we do have a couple more tests that are looking good. So both Orange Dream and Leopard, through the testing so far at about, 40 or 50, they look like they're going well. And I have more in this data I'm going to be processing, analyzing, and getting results out for everybody this week. I'll also be looking at another 50 or so Orange Dream and Leopard tests. So as long as it goes well, Orange Dream and Leopard are looking really good. And I would imagine people will ask about high OD. So far, the tests that we've done, people just had them labeled as Orange Dream, and they look the same so far. But I'll be looking specifically for ones people have labeled as high OD to test that as well. If you go to our back to school episodes, you can learn a little bit about how the DNA is packaged and how things happen when DNA is being copied and split and all that stuff. And we can talk about it a little more, what might be going on with high OD that's not polygenic or a different mutation. I don't think, but we won't know for sure till we do some more testing. And if that turns out how I think it will, then we'll talk about that. But you got to look at the back to school 2 episodes to make sense. Otherwise, it's going to be confusing.
It's worth it. Sound off in the comments if you made some connections to maybe what Ben's thinking. Anyway, yeah.
We shall see. There's only one way to find out, do the sequencing and analysis. So yeah, I'll be doing that. But so far, like I said, sheds that were labeled as Orange Dream and Super Orange Dream are looking good. And we'll have to play with the high OD and see if we see anything different. But we'll be figuring that out real quick.
Awesome. We've got a little more in the Blue-Eyed Lucy complex, right?
Yeah, so this run will be validating the Orange Dream and Leopard. As long as it goes well, that will all be done.
So validating, just to clarify, validating means that you've made the test, you're just now comparing it to a bunch of known samples, and if it comes back 99% or better, it's good to go, right?
Yep. So
awesome.
What we've told people is our tests are over 99% accurate. So what I do is I take at least 100, sometimes it's 150, somewhere between 100 and 150 in the first round of validation before we make the test available. And those are a mix of, like in this case, would be Orange Dream, Super Orange Dream, and ones that we know are not Orange Dream at all, and make sure that the test gives us correct results for all of those. And or if we miss on one, maybe a shed got switched, or we have a little room for one error out of 100. But other than that, we're looking for everything to match up so that we'll give good information to our customers.
Good. Sounds good.
And to me, I've been waiting on an OD test for a long time. So
I know. I've heard a few people mention it.
Yeah.
And
then the Super Leopard thing too. We had a couple that were leopards that were possible super leopards that were in kind of this test run that I did and ended up being super leopards. So that's cool too, because you can't tell the difference reliably between a leopard and a super leopard. It seems to be a truly dominant mutation. So we have recessives and we have incomplete dominance. And then there's some we think could be dominant. I think leopard's probably one of the best examples. That's seems to be a dominant mutation. And so this would give you a way to be able to tell if you have a really valuable breeder that's a possible super leopard, you could test it and find out for sure if it is.
Yeah. Makes sense, because I remember last week somebody was talking about, hey, what's the use in developing a test for a dominant or an incomplete dominant gene that you're going to see? Well, that's a good example of why. Or in the case of having a bunch of genes together and you produce an all white snake, well, how do you know which genes are being expressed? Or a high white piebald? It's like, this is one of those examples.
Oh yeah. And we, first of all, as a breeder, I wanted to develop tests for breeders, but also learning about what the genetics are for pattern and color is very interesting and cool. And it's like what Dr. Seidel and Dr. Rafi and Garcia Elfering, all of them are working on, figuring out the DNA code and how that works in ball pythons for color and pattern. That's also very interesting. So we'll try to make as many tests available as we can, but we're also very excited in that kind of scientific, even more nerdy part, figuring out the coding and the genes involved and all of that. So there's a lot to it. It's not just to make a test, but that's a great and useful part of it.
Exactly. All right. And so speaking of Dr. Seidel, I think Hannah was still looking for these specific sheds, right?
Yes. So the on the last slide, the blue-eyed Lucy genes that will be available, Mojave, Phantom, Mystic, Bamboo, and Russo. So those are the ones that I'll be validating first. And then, as you see in the slide that was up, she's still looking for super Bamboo examples. I would imagine that's for the publication, but also super Mocha and Mocha, super special, just to be able to get a few more sheds to know for sure what's going on with those. And hopefully we'll be able to have a special test here before too long as well. And then Lesser and Butter, she's also working on. So lots of good stuff coming.
Definitely. And when those publications are out, are we going to share them on here and maybe talk about it a little bit?
Oh yeah. Yeah. For
awesome. Sure. All right. Well, good stuff. So Rare Genetics had a fun weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did that go, Kayla? You got to be there.
I was. Okay. I went down to Texas, and here I'm just in here just showing off pictures that I took from this weekend. So I went down to the Arlington, Texas NARBC show, and I got to meet Allie, who is our other part-time person, who is, I started referring to her as Rare Genetics secret weapon, because she does a lot of the sample prep in the background, but you don't get to hear much from her. So I got to meet her. A bunch of folks got to meet her. I got to see Sean in person, which was fun. And I pulled up this picture of a nice little banana ball python from John Fealys, or Fealys Clutch there, just because I thought it was cute. I spent some time holding her at the show, and had some kids walk up and sanitize their hands and then pet her a little bit. So it's good fun. This picture is my reaction to the heat. Not fun. Clint Bartley from Metazotics said that I should make it my new profile picture. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's a little warmer than Virginia, huh?
Maybe a little bit. It was like 102 on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, your girl doesn't do well in that heat. The rest was fun, though. First morning I walked in and I saw the Bob Vu mobile right here. If you zoom in a bit, it says Bob's Balls on the side of it. And I was like, oh man, I sighted him. He's here. And he had a space bigger than my apartment rented out at this show. Like, there were so many animals. It was awesome.
Yeah, he makes some awesome animals. That's
yes,
for sure.
He does. Got to chit chat with him too. He was cool.
Yeah.
This story, I don't know if I told you this one yet, Ben. But so yeah, we were there sharing a table with Fealys Clutch, and first thing that morning on Saturday, we walked in, and we were in since. So for context, normally before shows, you don't want to feed all your animals. That way, they aren't, making a mess inside the display racks. But in the case of John, he had to go to 3 different shows like back to back, and he didn't want to not feed the babies all that time. So unfortunately, we were dealing with, catching babies before they were about to blow. And I was like, hanging over trash cans, and squeezing baby ball pythons to uh, get the poo out of them. And occasionally we'd be cleaning them, cleaning out display racks, which I didn't mind. That's part of the fun.
I've done that a few times.
Yeah. But one of them, when John had her set out, she slipped under the little cover that we had. And so we were like, oh no, baby ball python escaped. So both of us were on our hands and knees looking around, seeing where she went. And as we were looking, this little pied in the picture was there instead. So somebody else's ball python was on the floor when we were looking for John's. Now we ended up finding John's, and she was perfectly fine. She just slipped under the cover, was still on the table, but and we did find a home for this little pied. But I went on a little adventure with this little nervous ball of snake in my hand, walking up to people like, "Hi, did you lose this? Did you lose this?" But yes, their home was eventually found. Poor little fella. Oh no, not again. Let's see. And there's Allie, with all of our t-shirts in the background. People got a lot of our t-shirts, which was really nice to see. And why does it keep doing that? There was our little setup right behind In Your Face Exotics. I met Tom Harbin there, and he was repping the RGI gear, which was awesome. I saw him in the shirt, and then he was like, hang on, dug through his bag, found a cap. And so just look at him go. Right. And I saw Randy there. He didn't have a table, but he was repping his cap and helped me put the banner up behind us, which was nice.
Good.
Yeah. And Randy was the one who he's the owner of Dark Cloud Reptiles. So if you remember the raffle we did at Pomona, he's the guy who donated that. So he is awesome. It was great to see Randy in person.
And he's the one that let us tag along by his table at Pomona.
Yes. Randy's a good dude. Let's see. This is a little musk turtle that Allie's sister ended up getting at the show. And this picture doesn't do it justice. This little turtle was so freaking tiny. He was precious. Let's see. I got a decent picture of a lavender hognose behind this hognose that I was trying to get a picture of. Apparently that's a mojito morph, which is like from a European line that I didn't even know about. So he was a cutie though. It's like a super conda, but the belly was still speckled and it was like a greenish color. It was really neat. Yeah.
That's cool.
This was from Craig Trumbauer's rack, where he had some really pretty looking gray rat snakes and a bunch of really nice colubrids. It made me happy as a colubrid keeper. There was a nice little box of millipedes that was beside us that, they just kept the millipede box open and they were like, yeah, you can come pet the millipedes. And so we did. They were nice. Snapped this photo of one of John's ball pythons, who I love this angle of ball python pictures. They're just the cutest ever. Somebody who got a shirt brought in their little corn snake, and I was like, hey, you should set it down on the shirts and we can get some nice little reptile nerd photos with a baby corn snake on it.
Looking good.
Right? I thought so. We got some shed submissions from J Royals and Constricted Reptiles. We got some others too, but those were both like really packed full of, I believe, retic and also a few ball python sheds. So good. That was, and I think some boa sheds. It might have been boas instead of retics, but we got retic sheds there too. Let's see. Speaking of retics, this is a nice little puppy dog I got to hold while we were there from In Your Face Exotics. That one's a little more blurry, but still very pretty. It was a motley...
Maybe some kind of axanthic?
Something like that. Either way, she was a puppy dog, and I like big retics. They're fun. Although she still had plenty of growing to do. There's a little banana ball python again. This is Biggie Cheese, the Transpecos rat snake, who apparently has a decent little following on Instagram, I believe, but just look at that face. Like, that's absolutely precious. Like, just those big eyes are to die for. I love getting to meet and hold one of those for the first time. I saw somebody had a captive bred African egg eater, which, can you imagine getting finch eggs that tiny for that little guy to eat? Like, that's
Doesn't sound easy.
right. A nice little Applegate albino Sonora gopher snake. Well, San Diego gopher snake that I thought was really nice. It's one of my favorite albino lines in Pituophis. And that is I believe that's an Arctic toffee belly hoggy. Yeah. Because that's a line I want to work with in hog noses someday. Oh yes, there was this.
Other way. Here you go. Driving the Timberline whip. Oh yeah.
So for context with that, that was something that they auctioned off, and I believe John Feely got. But it was like, it had a U.S. ARC on it, and it's just a little kid's thing. And I forget who this lady was, but she was small enough to fit inside, so she was just driving around in the aisle, and it was great.
Nice. That's hilarious.
Right. During the show, there were so many I could see the jealousy in some of the smaller kids walking past. They're like, "Why do you have a car in here?" And we were like, "Yeah, that's our new whip."
I should have done 5-minute rides for $5 and made some more money for USARC.
We should have. Maybe next time. Hey John, idea for next year. And then finally, just some nice little corn snakes that I saw. And they're naked because they're little scaleless guys. Very cute.
Cool.
Yeah. And that is actually all that I have awesome. From the Texas show.
Looks like it was a fun one.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I'd never been to a show that big before, so it was a good time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't been to that one. I've been to many NARBCs, but I've never been to Arlington. But since it's close to Sean, one of these times I'll have to go.
Definitely. Yeah, it was a good time. And Sean did make it eventually, and on the second day. And so I know a lot of people got to chit chat with him. It was like he rolled in right at 11 or 12, I think. And he just didn't stop for the next 6 hours or so. Just didn't take any breaks, not even for water or anything. He was just go, 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 talking with all the vendors. I'm
sure there's lots that wanted to talk.
Absolutely. I had some really nice conversations with folks too. Like, I snapped some photos, but most of what I did was just talking with folks. And it amazed me when people walked up and they were like, "Hey, you're Kayla from Rare Genetics." And I was like, "What?" It's like, whoa, people recognize me. That's coconuts. It was very, very good fun. There were definitely a bunch of people who I met there that I didn't get to who I haven't mentioned, who I had some really nice conversations with. So it was a blast. Speaking of which, shows, you're going to one next week, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So both Sean and I will be at Tinley. So
yeah. And so you're going to be with Clutch. So, if you see this logo somewhere, go. That's where you'll find us.
Yes. So you can ask questions about software and how to order tests through the software, and we'll be right there. I'll be very excited to talk with everyone with all of the new tests that are coming fast now, and kind of getting towards the end of baby season. We'll focus even more on developing new tests, and that's one thing that those of you that have stayed towards the end of this get to hear a cool announcement. So we are likely the week after Tinley, maybe it'll be 2 weeks after, but probably the week after Tinley, we'll do a live and have Sean here with us as well. And we'll talk a little bit about how people can get discounts and deals, and also have opportunities to help fund the development of new reptile genetic tests. One of them couple of them that I'm the most excited for. These are kind of ideas we've been hashing out, but we're about ready to give the details out and let people start doing this. But one is to be a sponsor for a new ball python morph test. And so we'll probably start rolling that out and give people a chance to get some good deals, name recognition, and be a part of that. And then also for other species, we'll figure out a way to allow people to be a part of funding and also have their name associated with, it could be corn snakes, hognoses, blood pythons, different species that we have had sheds come in on. We're starting to get retic sheds coming in. So
Yes.
but these other species where we may need to do the expensive part is doing a really in-depth whole genome sequencing. And that's tens of thousands of dollars each time we do that. And we've only done it for ball pythons so far, and not very many reptiles have had that done. But we might be able to do a few more with the help from you all that are interested in being a part of that. And then, like I said, be associated with that forever. Have your logo and name, be a part of, know that you are part of making that happen. So we're organizing, and we'll be ready to announce and talk about how we're going to do that, how that's structured after Tinley.
All right. So keep an eye on us after Tinley. So rehash that. You got a chance for basically brand recognition through us sponsoring species and morphs that you'd want to see developed, and having that recognition like stuck somewhere like for a really long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be on our website. We'll have like a web page for each morph and each new species that we're developing. We'll have at least names of people and businesses that send in sheds for those new morphs and or new species. But then we'll also have a special spot, probably right at the top, for those that sponsored it, have their logos and info up there. And then also we will publish these things eventually. So some of them will start happening. I actually got invited to give a talk at an academic conference. It's the Plant and Animal Genome meeting that's I think it's in San Diego in January. So I'll go there and talk about, they're very interested in hearing. So they're from the academic side, they're very interested in hearing how businesses use genetics and genomics to serve customers. And so they think about it from the, let's figure these things out and publish them, but they don't usually reach out and figure out how to use that new information to help, individuals. But
everybody say hi to my partner, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
He's waving there. Yeah.
So eventually there'll be in acknowledgments and papers, and I've always thought it'd be fun to write a book about this stuff. So maybe in a book someday.
Yeah. So Rare Genetics, like up alongside like 23andMe, Ancestry, and a bunch of other things that do genetics in business at a conference. That'll be really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll definitely. That sounds like another video worth talking about at some point.
Oh yeah.
Well, all right. I did want to mention one thing before we finish up today. If you didn't catch our last episode, Ben does breed ball pythons when he's not researching or analytics or sleeping, presumably. So he has Reptile Genetics Services. And if you're looking for a pet ball python or a breeder, he works with a lot of really, really cool stuff. Those are just a few examples in the picture there. Personally, I like the little orange one that looks kind of like moldy cheese.
Yes.
He's like a little Cisco. Cisco is another one of his snakes that look really cool. So
that's
check it out.
Cisco's his dad.
Yeah.
That's Cisco Jr.
Little Cisco Jr. And of course, at least 50% of the proceeds from this go toward developing more genetic tests. So it's a win-win all around if you want to check it out. We realize we don't talk about that nearly enough. And are you guys going to be bringing any of those to Tinley, or just all these are online?
No, I won't bring anything to Tinley this time. Maybe one of these years, Sean
Yeah.
or I or both of us will start bringing some animals too. But no, for now we're pretty focused when we come to shows. We're going to be talking genetic tests.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Honestly, I think that's probably for the best. I know there's going to be lots of questions. So good stuff. Well, all right. You got anything else before we call it a day?
Nope, just heartfelt thank you once again for the interest and the people using the testing. It's awesome. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks again for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know if you met me or Sean or Allie or anybody at any of our past shows, or if you're going to Tinley, sound off in the comments. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.